every HIIT workout can feel a little bit different depending on the format that we go into. So, HIIT training has a reputation for beating you up, making you sweat, burpees, endless amounts of burpees, just being challenging in a way different way than strength, where people are watching their heart rate, they're watching calories burned. It's how intense and explosive and plyometric, and how much can I move, and I shouldn't be able to walk out of the door, I have to crawl to it. It kind of gets this connotation of being an extremely intense only form of exercise. And while its goal is high intensity, there definitely is, we'll say, a limit where you can go beyond high intensity where it just becomes inappropriate. Likewise, if the intensity is too low, you may not get all of the benefits that are associated with HIIT training. So what Kat and I are going to dive into a little bit today are some trendy things, some things that we've tried and that we've learned from others who have tried and put them through the trenches, and as well as some maybe physical and non-physical appearance-based benefits that HIIT training can deliver to you, whether your goal is performance, fat loss, weight management, increasing strength, or overall just looking to sustain and live a healthy lifestyle. So some of the basics and connotations of HIIT-based training, right? It is high-intensity interval training. It's a mixture of flipping the light switch on and flipping the light switch off to working hard and recovering, working hard and recovering. Over the past 5 years especially, it's gained a lot of hype, a lot of excitement because of its compact format. It can be done in less than 20 minutes. An extremely effective workout in less than 20 minutes. If you go for a strength training workout, you know that it usually takes an hour and 10, an hour and 20, an hour and 30 sometimes when you're here to really get that same feeling by the end of it. But over those last 5 years, a lot of the claims that come in the public are tone up, look good, melt fat, very physical-based appearance type focuses. HIIT training can be extremely beneficial and great for your fitness program as long as you're sticking to a certain set of principles. Right? Just like that intensity before, and that we'll dive into later. Too much or too little, you got to find that just right porridge. Ways that you can kind of build a HIIT program is usually you're going for an effort that's somewhere between 10 to 60 seconds of work. And you're going to be resting, usually in combination with that, but if not 10 to 60 seconds, it can even be up to 3-4 minutes long. Some days on Tuesdays and Thursdays there are go hard for 2 minutes and then we'll recover. So the delivery can vary, and that'll kind of go along with some things we'll go over today. It is extremely scalable for every fitness level. So you could take something, and it could be a level 1 all the way up to a level 10. And some ways that you can go onto it are working with a circuit, working with the timer, working with isometrics, holding a position. You can play with an E-bomb, every minute on the minute, which we just did, or an AMRAP, as many rounds as possible. Those are kind of just like some structures and frameworks on how to deliver this type of work and rest ratio. So these are things that we're not going to dive into today, but of course, if you want to find out more about them, chat with me. So some science-based things that are HIIT, maybe the things that you don't see that have a huge, tremendous impact on your health from HIIT training. It has great heart health. In means of, it is really good on lowering your blood sugar and your blood glucose levels, which is a great offset to A-type, type 2 diabetes. And your blood sugar levels staying elevated is a very consistent theme of premature aging, premature death. So it's a very serious thing to keep your blood sugar levels in check. HIIT training, as well as endurance training, is really good for increasing your VO2 max, which is the amount of oxygen your body is able to utilize for a given effort. Think of it like the amount of gasoline your car can use at one time. A muscle car can really go, right? Their VO2 max, they can perform a lot of power versus, let's say, a small little engine Kia. But if they're going to go up against one another in a race, there's an extreme power disadvantage. You can increase your VO2 max to be more like that. I don't remember the first car I said. That. Muscle car. It's also really important for increasing your bone density, your ligament strength, your ligament integrity, reducing injuries, increasing longevity. Melting your visceral fat. So that type of fat is maybe the ones that you can't see, but it's internal. It's what surrounds your organs. So it's important to make sure that you're keeping that in check as well. Reduces inflammation markers throughout the body. Inflammation is a prerequisite for pretty much every single disease that we have. So if you can decrease the levels of inflammation in your body, you're improving your longevity. And it supports lean muscle growth and can be just as effective, if not more effective, than long duration cardio and conditioning to get to those benefits. Right? The times of being on a treadmill for 30 to 40 to 60 minutes without much of a focus are kind of in the past at this point. Science is pretty clear that you can get a lot more from a 20-minute training session with focus like this to get to those same results. But what we will go over today are some of the things that we've learned, experienced, and each of these bullet points are going to be a slide that we're going to dive a little bit deeper into and kind of share how these maybe make a little bit more of an impact on your weekly fitness routine, as well as how they play into our classes here and outside of here, what you can do to continue to maximize the benefits of your HIIT training and how that combines to your overall arching goals for your lifestyle. So we're going to break them down each one at a time.
Let's go. All right, so something that occurs because of HIIT training is called EPOC, right? I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that. It's also called the afterburn effect. And what EPOC stands for is excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Really all it means is how much oxygen your body needs after a workout to come back to like homeostasis or regular levels. So EPOC is the amount of oxygen required to restore your body to its normal level. It's the amount of oxygen needed to repair your muscles. And it's kind of like your car engine stays hot after you turn it off, so does your body. And also another way to think about it is if you were to owe money to a bank, right? The more money you owe the bank, the longer it's going to take you to pay the bank off, and you're probably going to owe the bank more money. So the higher the intensity of the workout, the more oxygen you're going to need to recover. All right, and that oxygen, that whole process, it requires energy, and that is good because you're going to burn calories. So that's what you want. So the higher the intensity, the more energy used after the workout. What does EPOC do for your body? It increases levels of human growth hormone. That's good because that's going to help you build lean muscle, and we'll talk more about that later on, but that's what makes you look lean or also toned, which a lot of women want that, right? So human growth hormone is important. It also increases your resting metabolic rate. So that's like when you hear people say, they just have a good metabolism, that's why they're so skinny. What does that mean? It means that they have a high resting metabolic rate. At rest, their body is using a lot of energy or burning calories when they're not doing anything. So you want to have a good resting metabolic rate. That's important. And that's what EPOC can do for your body. Drastic improvements in energy, more effort in the session, more calories burned afterwards. That's what EPOC does. And it also produces ATP in the body, which is good. It's going to help you have more power in your workouts. I'm not sure how to move this slide. There we go. All right, so this little diagram, like I was saying, like if you borrow money from a bank, right, the more money you borrow, the more you're gonna owe most likely, and the longer it's gonna take you to pay the bank back. That's what you want. So the higher intensity, the more energy you use in a workout, the more energy it's gonna take after to recover. That's a good thing. So the variation or the intervals is really important. It has to be intense. Obviously, safety is really important too, right? But as long as you're being safe and you're choosing a variation you know you can do well, you want it to be intense. Yeah, that's basically it on that slide. Intensity is the most important. It should feel like a 7 out of a 10, right? And that might take some time to learn what that feels like, but you shouldn't be able to say more than 5 words. If you're working out and you're at an interval where you're trying to push yourself, if you can say more than 5 words, you're probably not working a 7 out of a 10. Also, you'll have to learn like if your muscles get tired like faster than your heart rate. So it does take time and practice to learn what that even means. All-out effort is gonna look different for everybody. Right, your all-out effort is going to look different than Sean's all-out effort. And then it's also going to look different to somebody who walks in here on their first day. So you have to learn your all-out effort. And also you have to ask yourself, How do I feel? Can I push a little harder? Like I kept saying in the workout, right? Do a little check-in. Do you need more? Do you need to add reps or do you need to take reps off? Right? Recovery is also really important.
Can I have one more thing?
Yeah, please.
So when it comes into this first part, I just want to add in that your intensity matters more than what exercise you choose and how long you do it for. So it doesn't matter if you're going for, in theory, 5 minutes or 8 minutes, or you're using a 30-pound kettlebell or a 50-pound kettlebell, or you need to do a kettlebell, one-armed behind the back swing catch with your eyes closed versus just doing a normal swing or deadlift. What matters the most is that you are giving it a strong effort. Because if you're swinging your 30-pound kettlebell like this, and you swing your 50-pound kettlebell like this, that's fine. But if you put a lot more effort and intensity into your 30-pound kettlebell, you can get a ton more benefits, even though it's only half the weight. Likewise, big things come in very small packages. If you go all out for 30 seconds, you maybe can't keep that same intensity if you're like, oh, I'm gonna go for 1-2 minutes. So really focus on how can you put as much concentrated energy and focus into just a small amount of time. That's how you'll get a huge amount of return on time invested with HIIT training. That's what makes it unique versus strength training or longer sustained cardio conditioning based sessions. And questioning yourself during the session and after the session, like, was that a 7 out of 10? Was it an 8 out of 10? Reflecting on your workout, right? Was that the amount of effort that I really could give today? And there's a lot of factors that come into that, but could I have given more? Or if I'm still in the middle of it, can I continue to maybe give a little bit more right now? And a good way to recognize what type of intensity you're at is understanding your heart rate. So this is an interval training session, right? You see your heart rate rise and drop as you recover. Rise, drop as you recover. And over time, that's great. Gas break, gas break, gas break. And the body gets really good at adapting to that stimulus. Where this is a sustained cardio session. This is me on one of my obstacle course style type runs. As you can see, my heart rate really doesn't drop. A little drop right here, but it's only like 8 to 10 beats. Whereas over here, it's dropping 40 beats or so. This is important. During your resting session, you should watch it drop down somewhere between 85, 90 to 115 or 120 is a rough estimate, depending on what your heart rate max could be. But during your all-out efforts, it's important to see that it goes tremendously higher. Knowing the difference, right? The difference between an endurance training session and an interval session. Right? On a day that's maybe 20 minutes, as many rounds as possible, it'll look more like this. But what we just did, and what we'll probably end up doing later, will look a little bit like this, where you are fluctuating. So it's important to recognize what type of session is it, what type of intensity will I give. Because if it's something like this, you're probably going to sit at a 6 or a 7 for a while, but if it's here, you're probably going to push it to an 8 or 9 because you know you have a rest coming up where you can kind of recharge quickly. Your mind is going to tell you that you're tired way before you are actually tired. As anyone's here has heard of David Goggins or Jocko, basically people who have this mental hardiness that they can withstand tremendous amounts of pain running and hiking for 200, 250, 300 miles straight. Or sustaining, this guy has 1,058 pull-ups in 24 hours. Just this type of way where if you want to keep going, keep going. Your mind is going to tell you that you're tired, right? You can convince yourself that my legs are heavy, or whatever reasons that you can walk into and kind of pull yourself back a little bit. But so try and clear the clutter and just go. Right? Everyone's had that plate push where they finish and their legs have a pulse. And they also feel a pulse in the back of their head. Yep, what you're feeling is super real, but I'm sure you can probably do it again in 5 or 10 seconds instead of waiting 30 seconds. Your mind is going to tell you that it feels a lot more intense than it really is. So try not to continue thinking in that direction. Try to catch it, be like, nope, I'm here, I'm going to go. It's going to suck anyway, I'm going to go. I'm just going to go now. And then when you finish having, you're like, okay, I felt good. You can't manage what you do not measure. So if you're looking to be a little bit more serious or take these principles we're going to have today and apply them, I suggest wearing some sort of wearable technology that you can actually see what your heart rate is. whatever type that may be, heart rate strap, wrist strap. If not, there's always the old school method of checking your pulse, watching the clock.
That still works? I'm just wondering.
I don't have time in my high intensity training to watch my pulse. Come on,
So, but yes, I think it does work still, as long as your clock isn't frozen. Two things that are super important. And two of the most underrated performance enhancers that we have available to us are sleeping and water, as everybody takes a sip. Your brain, your lungs, your skin, your muscles, your kidneys, your bones, that's the percentage they are made up of water. Tremendous amount. And if you have a 98, that's an A+. Even at an A+, every measurement of performance, aerobic capacity, strength, endurance, speed, agility, reaction time, go down with 2% dehydration. 2%. That's incredible.
It's huge.
Right? If you get a 98 on anything, if you get a 98 on your hydration, you're losing. It's like that's serious. Like that's important. Like that's important to recognize that water is super important and it's unbelievably accessible, right? If you're not drinking your water, it doesn't matter what supplements you're taking. It doesn't matter what workout you're doing. It doesn't matter the foods you're eating. It doesn't matter the sneakers you wear, the cute little outfits you get. You need to drink your water. How can you make your water more accessible? A, put it everywhere you go. Make it foolproof. Leave a bottle in the car, leave a bottle next to your bed, leave a bottle in your bag, leave one at the office, like have one in your gym bag, wear a fanny pack with a water bottle the whole day, whatever it may be. Just make it so that you don't have to think about drinking your water. A foolproof way is when you go to bed, drink maybe a glass or so, maybe not right before, you gotta go to your bladder, but bring a glass of water so it's next to your bed, first thing in the morning. You just went between 4.5 and 8 hours, somewhere around there, without drinking a single sip. Do that first. Not coffee, not checking your emails, water. Water first. Some ways that you can make your water a little bit more, not just exciting and tasty, but also to absorb it better, right? A dry sponge. You know when you have a rock solid dry sponge and the water hits it and it kind of like runs off of it first before it soaks it up? A way that you can help your human sponge absorb water more quickly is adding things like lemon, apple cider vinegar, which you can get flavored apple cider vinegar, which is really tasty, like blueberries and raspberries and all that delicious stuff. Some salt. It's one of the little things that we could dive into if you're interested in that. Help absorption. It doesn't need to be a tremendous amount, but just a little bit. Just a little bit. And this is just a small little graph of a general template of if you want a specific quantity to be drinking. This gives you a little bit before your workout, just before, during, and after to help make sure you're kind of staying on track with your 99 to 100% hydration levels. Also, I didn't have it up here, but be a bathroom detective. Look at your pee. Look at the color of it. Not rocket science. You shouldn't be yellow. It shouldn't be yellowish.
Unless you just have your B vitamins.
Unless you have your B vitamins. Then it doesn't.
Or beets.
Or beets.
So that's a whole other thing.
We're not going there today. But just as important as drinking your water is sleeping. People pride themselves on being able to function with low quantities of sleep, right? Recently finished up college and I was like, how little sleep can I get every single night and still function was like the main mission.
Can I ask a question for the water?
Yeah,
I mean,
please.
is like 8 cups, like 8 ounces a day or whatever they say, or is it more just based on?
I was always told half your body weight in ounces of water.
Yeah, that's a great, thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. Half of your body weight in ounces and beyond is a really good check.
Per day.
Yeah, per day, for sure. And then based on how you feel, if you feel like you're peeing nonstop, maybe you have a water absorption issue, where it's just kind of going right in and going right out, where your body's not soaking it in, or maybe you are drinking a really high quantity of water where your body isn't able to save it more. Right, so you can be drinking a lot of water and peeing a lot, but it doesn't mean that you're storing a lot of that water. Could depend. Sleeping smarter. You want to hear? Some people come to 5 a.m. If you're coming at 5 a.m., I know you're not going to bed at 7 p.m. That'd be sweet though, that'd be nice. But,
She's doing yoga after that.
and likewise, maybe you work late and you don't fall asleep till 9:30, it's early, 10, not early, it's early.
11.
Early, right? 10, 11, maybe you're restless, you wake up 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you toss and turn a little bit, or you just wake up tremendously early every single day. You need to rest. Now, I'm not a super strong sleeper, so what is something that I keep in my routine are power rest sessions. If you cannot get a full night of sleep, resting and recharging yourself between 2 minutes, which a 2-minute eyes closed, really rest can be super powerful, all the way up to 20, 25 minutes, if that's something that you ever have time for in your day, the siesta. It's the non-napping nap, right? Maybe you don't fall asleep, but it's enough to totally turn everything on, right? Turn off all your light switches and just chill out. It could be in the middle of a workday, it could be sitting in traffic, it can be in the comfort of your home, maybe midday or something like that. So those power rest sessions, if that's something you're interested in learning more about, I would love to chat with you on how to like set the environment for it. But how to sleep better, set yourself up for a sleep sanctuary. It should be dark, very dark. Like TV lights, cut that. If you're a TV person before you're trying to go to bed, maybe it helps you fall asleep. What it's doing is just making you tired because the screen's on. It's exhausting your eyes. It's not making you tired. It's actually stimulating the heck out of you. But it's just at a time of day where you're already tired. So it feels like it's making you more tired. The temperature, right? If you like a warm environment or a cold environment, figure it out. I like a cold place to sleep. Maybe you like it warm. Smells, maybe you use essential oils. Maybe you sweat a lot when you sleep. Maybe you want to spray something in bed before you get in there. I sweat a lot when I sleep. Positioning while sleeping. Laying on your stomach, laying on your side, laying on your back. One leg is hanging off, crumpled up on the couch. Pay attention to how you're sleeping. The best sleeping position is lying on your back with your legs supported a little bit, or lying on your side with a pillow between your legs and a support on your side. Again, if you want to talk more about setting yourself up a sleep sanctuary, yeah. And also breathing. If you go to bed running around and if you get into bed right after running around and doing a whole bunch of things and you try to pass right out, you might not. You need to, right? If you've ever taken like yoga or any sort of like meditative or even like a cool down, your breathing is much different than when you're in the middle of a workout. It's the same thing when you're getting ready for sleep. You should pay attention to how softly you're breathing. Change up your nervous system response. Flipping from this lane to this lane. Setting an alarm based on your sleep cycles. You ever get that feeling where you still sleep like 7, 8, 9, 9.5 hours, like a really long time, but you still wake up feeling like kind of like behind the eight ball and just sluggish. Or you get like 4 hours of sleep and you feel great. It has to do with when you're waking up. You have your deep sleep and your light sleep, and you want to catch yourself as you're coming into your awake cycles. So the aim is to have at least 4 sleep cycles per day, and if you notice 1, 2, 3, 4, that puts you at about 6 hours of sleep. So that's really the minimal effective dose. If you do not get to those, you have to have a power rest session during the day, or if you continue that trend for days and weeks with only maybe 1 longer day of sleep, you are going to burn out. It's not like a when, or it's not an if, it's a when. So you must appreciate and take advantage of your water in your sleep.
Get your phone away from you at night.
Get your screen time. So I had something up there on the last slide. What's your 30 minutes before bed look like? 30 minutes before bed, changing your breath, setting up your sleep sanctuary, getting into a dark room. If you are having screen time, if you're having those things like that, wearing blue light blocking glasses is really powerful and beneficial. Like the blue light from screens and lights and things like that is what makes those things keep us stimulated. So wearing glasses can help with that if maybe you can't avoid them. Again, if you want to talk more about sleep and water, let me know.
That's me. All right, achieving a toned body is different than you may imagine it. So being toned really just means having lean muscle. Building lean muscle is important for that toned look, right? I hear a lot of people say, or a lot of women anyway, I can only speak as a woman. Women come in here and they're like, I want to be toned, but I don't want to build any muscle. And I want to have, like, I want to see the muscles in my legs and my arms, but I don't, or I want to look toned in my arms and my legs, but I don't want to build muscle. So light weights aerobic training, working out for a long time and not really working out hard is not gonna make you look toned. If anything, it's just gonna make you maybe look skinny if you do that for a long time, maybe, but it might not even do that. So building muscle is really important to look toned. And how are you gonna build muscle? By increasing human growth hormone, by lifting weights, and by working at high intensity. So that's all really important stuff. High calorie burn HIIT equals fat and lean muscle loss. So it's important to do strength movements to retain that lean muscle if you wanna look toned. Also what you're eating is important pre and post workout. So I'm sure that all of us can agree that we can clean up our diets, right? You have to be honest with yourself. What you're eating before workout is important, but what you're eating after is really, really important too if you wanna stay lean. And obviously, if you wanna lose weight, you have to consume less calories than you put out. That's just how it's gonna work. So that's how you can achieve a toned body and look lean.
And the witching hour, late night eating. Gotta be aware of that. Gotta be aware of that. Why? That's probably the most sedentary time of the day. So if you're consuming something questionable at also the time where you're the least active, it's gonna sit. You're gonna go to bed and you're gonna wake up and you're probably still gonna have a normal breakfast, but guess what? You probably didn't need breakfast if you ate at 8:30 or 9 o'clock p.m. and you're up again. You probably don't need to eat right in the morning. Your body's ready for it. Got fuel in there.
What if we eat at 8 or 9, but it's after a workout? Is that okay?
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it depends.
That's why
Let's use the word it
we
depends.
have
It always
Always
depends.
depends.
It's like yes, but also no. Yeah, so if you want to have like specifics on your scenario, that's what you chat. It's always it depends.
He knows
I just want to make
Yeah.
a comment to his question, which is a great question. The problem with eating within 3 hours of bed, especially if you're an athlete, which most, I'm sure everybody here is that that food is in your stomach when you're lying in bed trying to sleep. I talked about the importance of sleep. But what's happening is your body's working at digesting that food, not at your recovery. So you're not getting the recovery that you should be getting.
Right.
Your body is busy trying to digest that food.
Okay.
So the next day's workout is not going to be as good as what it would have been had you held off on the food late.
So you're saying I gotta stay up till midnight now?
Or it could be a different, maybe it's larger consumption based of water. Like we're not going to eat from not dying, or we're not going to die from not eating.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you just wait a lot longer the next day. So you give yourself that time when you're awake for your body to move on to things other than digestion.
Isn't half of it sitting up at least for a half hour after you eat?
It's definitely saying movement. Right? After you eat, you want to definitely try to avoid being super duper stationary. Kind of like a walk after eating is really nice, especially for regulating your blood sugar levels, taking a walk after eating. But yeah, as far as the late night eating goes, yeah. So if you ever looked at like a HIIT workout online, a lot of it is jump squats, like some things we did this morning. It can be bodyweight focused, but bodyweight isn't the only option you can do. Bodyweight's super important. You need to know how to control your body, what it feels like to have balance and coordination and stamina and that type of strength. But to really maximize the importance or maximize the benefit potential of HIIT training, it is really important to use strength-based movements. As Kat was saying, if you want that tone, that strong, lean look, you need to lift weights. You cannot be afraid of weightlifting and gaining muscle. Using functional and compound-based movements, pretty much the 90% of what we do here that kind of makes us unique from other places in the area is we focus heavily on using functional and purposeful exercises. Why? They give you more bang for your buck. They carry over into your everyday life. They recruit higher amounts of muscle fibers, right? Doing a bicep curl is going to recruit less muscle fibers than doing a rope slam or doing a kettlebell clean. It's just straightforward. You get a benefit, right? You're still going to get strength in your biceps from doing those, but why not add in a whole bunch of other stuff to it? More bang for your buck. More activation, more energy invested, more beautiful results will come from that. No, you won't become bulky from lifting weights. unless you want to. So if you see men and women bodybuilders that are like this big, they tried to do that. Or even people who look, we'll say, you know, with a normal person with their clothes on, but say if you saw them at the beach and they were just shredded to bits. That's their focus, that's their goal. So if you don't want to look like that, you're probably not going to, unless you literally focus on that.
Accidentally.
But it's not like, holy snap! Likewise, if that's something you want,
Like Spider-Man.
it's important to program for that, right? If that's something you want, it's good to move in that direction. So just understand, like, if I want muscular strength and size, I'm gonna have to aim to do that. It's not gonna happen by picking 25-pound dumbbells instead of 15-pound dumbbells. It's not gonna happen. Use the 25-pound dumbbells. Avoiding resistance exercises too often, so just using body weight, can contribute to losing lean muscle mass. Lean muscle mass retention is one of the most important factors to increase your bone density, prevent the onset of aging. Because as you get older, especially beyond 40 and 45, the ability to continue to gain lean muscle mass begins to become more challenging. We'll say, you know, if you had to work a percentage, if you had to work, you know, at a 5 out of 10 to get muscle mass, after you turn 40, 45, you probably have to work at like a 7 out of 10 to get the same results. Just to use an arbitrary number. So, what does that mean? Consistency is going to be factor A. B, sticking to your sleep, your water, continue to lift weights, being smart with your food nutrition, all the things we've talked about are going to play into maintaining lean muscle mass. Because that's going to give you a foundation to live and move strong, a foundation to feel fit, feel equipped to what you have to do outside of the gym as well as continue to challenge yourself inside of these four walls. Weights are also an extremely great way to increase intensity. Right? Intensity is the most important factor. So if you're looking to increase your heart rate more, get more of an efficacious result from the workout, instead of using just your legs, we'll say for a sprint 60 yards, plate push 60 yards, farmer's carry, sled push 60 yards. Instead of doing just a body weight hinge, kettlebell swing, deadlift, use that resistance training to increase the intensity to match that demand. Continuing with the same bodyweight exercises are not only options. If you don't love, or if your body maybe doesn't agree with plyometrics, jumping, sprinting, lunging, leaving the ground a lot, or things like that, using weights is a good way to substitute for those. We have a lot of people, and we make a lot of adjustments. Some people can't sprint. Some people don't love jump squats, right? Those intensity moves for the ankles, the knees, the shoulders, right? Rope slams sometimes get too much, or med ball slams if you're feeling cranky in the shoulder. Using other types of weights will help retain the quality of the session. Loaded carries, sled pushes, crawls are really great resources. Also, when you add in resistance training, it increases the impact of the EPOC, that excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. So it also fills a lot of other buckets, or checks a lot of other boxes. A little science for you. One study found that when cycling, circuit training, or heavy resistance training, think like a Monday or a Thursday, when they were compared, the heavy resistance training produced the largest EPOC. The circuit-based training came in second, and cycling came in third. So what does that tell you? Mondays and Thursdays are also extremely important to utilize the correct amount of weight. Right? If you can goblet squat 80 pounds for 5 reps, even if you're not feeling super duper hot, you shouldn't grab a 40 pounder to squat for that many reps. Like, it's gonna be challenging. Maybe you're not feeling, you know, your best self. You're not feeling that perfect ideal scenario, but you still have to know that you're staying within a 7 or more out of 10 range to really get where you're going. But it's there's a midnight. You can absolutely overdo your HIIT training. Right? You can do too much, but you need a minimum amount of it. He's so cute. He got a haircut yesterday, by the way. So see him next. He looks like a cartoon character. When you're doing types of intensity, understand what type of ow you're having. Is it a muscle burn? Is it, I kind of feel not just a burn, but like it's a sharp, really intense hot feeling in my shoulder or my knee or my low back? Is the burn from working hard, or is the pain from maybe overdoing it or holding stress and tension in areas? So it's important to try and differentiate what type of discomfort am I feeling, or you feeling. Don't ignore those yield and stop signs, because that's how you end up with injuries that show up and maybe stick around for a lot longer than you want. Likewise, it's also a good way to be very aware of your body. Right? Understand what you're feeling. I always have my right shoulder feels this thing. Why? Maybe because I use my right hand for everything and I'm never doing release, or I'm never exploring my full range of motion, and I haven't gotten a massage since 2006. Understand that just kind of what's happening in your body. Be aware of it. Balancing your HIIT training with sleep and water is number one. If you are under recovering, how can you overperform? Frequency matters. How much HIIT training are you having into your schedule? So this is just a rough outline, right? Every body is going to respond differently to the frequency and the intensity. But if you're looking for really an increase in overall strength potential in muscle, if your focus is more, I want to increase my big lifts, my sled push, my deadlift, my bench press, squat, chin-ups, things like that, you are going to want to focus a little bit more on your strength sessions, but it's extremely important to balance things out, to have at least one HIIT session in your week. So say if you come to Orca 3 times a week and your goal is muscle loss, discomfort am I feeling, or you feeling? Don't ignore those yield and stop signs, because that's how you end up with injuries that show up and maybe stick around for a lot longer than you want. Likewise, it's also a good way to be very aware of your body. Right? Understand what you're feeling. I always have my right shoulder feels this thing. Why? Maybe because I use my right hand for everything and I'm never doing release, or I'm never exploring my full range of motion, and I haven't gotten a massage since 2006. Understand that just kind of what's happening in your body. Be aware of it. Balancing your HIIT training with sleep and water is number one. If you are under recovering, how can you overperform? Frequency matters. How much HIIT training are you having into your schedule? So this is just a rough outline, right? Every body is going to respond differently to the frequency and the intensity. But if you're looking for really an increase in overall strength potential in muscle, if your focus is more, I want to increase my big lifts, my sled push, my deadlift, my bench press, squat, chin-ups, things like that, you are going to want to focus a little bit more on your strength sessions, but it's extremely important to balance things out, to have at least one HIIT session in your week. So say if you come to Orca 3 times a week and your goal is muscle loss, you should come to definitely a Monday and a Thursday, but also a Tuesday or Friday, or a Ken Saturday, which that'll be like almost the equivalent of TSK. But reason being, a lot of benefits come with that fast-paced, powerful, higher repetition range that will transfer over into your strength. If you're looking for more of a middle ground, to be lean and strong, increasing performance and staying strong in your performance for strength and your conditioning, and having them both kind of move parallel, having about 2 of each. 2 of each is important, and if you had to pick, say if you do only come 3 days, having 1 strength session and 2 HIIT sessions will fit that bill. Wednesday is a good hybrid as well. If you don't come on Wednesdays, highly suggest trying them. They're blast. Probably my favorite day of the week. And if you're going for more weight loss, fat loss, weight management, you're definitely going to want to have at least 2 of those high intensity sessions in combination with a strength session, at least 1, or just 1, to stay strong. Again, too much HIIT and not enough of the strength to balance. It's kind of like burning the candle from both ends. You need to slow it down. During the strength session, your heart is going to be a lot lower. Your heart is a muscle. It's also good to give that muscle a rest from pumping hard and giving it still strength to these areas. Rest during the HIIT session is important. I'm not going to go all the way back, but that aerobics, the slide where it had the heart rate, if you're not giving yourself that time to rest and it's not long enough, it's endurance. It's a totally different type of benefit when you're not letting your heart rate drop and then lift back on up. So if you're under recovering, you're not going to be able to consistently hold a 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 intensity. Maybe you hear me screaming over the music. Maybe you don't want to listen to me during class, which is fine. But understand while you're resting, you're supposed to be resting. And like sometimes it feels long, you're like, I've been hanging out like 30 30 seconds. I'm like, ready to go. It's like, it has a purpose. So when you go, you can go. And you should go. Like, don't save too much energy in the tank. You don't want to start at a 10 out of 10 and finish at a 6 out of 6 because you can't even get close to a 10 anymore. Start with your 7, build it to an 8, build it to a 9. Keep pushing your intensity and breathe deep and rest in between. And if you're ever going to do, we'll say, something on your own, we'll provide some like mini sample template workouts that you can have for your home, on the road, hotel, on the beach, family friendly. Using a 1-to-1, so 20 seconds of rest, 20 seconds of work, or 40 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest. There's a 3-to-1, 2-to-1, or a 1-to-1 ratio is going to be strong. And it just depends on what movements you're going to be doing. So what are you able to do right now to kind of put these things into action? Start your heart rate monitor data from your workouts. So if you've been wearing one, just see what it's like. Right? Maybe on your next workout, or if you had one in the last week or two, check out the app, check out on your smartphone what that session may have looked like. If you have not had that opportunity to do so yet, I suggest try to maybe even find one used secondhand, or investing in yourself, investing in your health and fitness by upgrading to one. Pick the type of balance of classes you need based on your goals. So you can chat with any of your coaches to try and figure out what that might look like. And again, nothing is ever permanent. So as your goals change, your schedule changes. Do your recovery tactics regularly, self-massage, foam rolling, releasing the bottoms of the feet, back of the neck, glutes, sleep, water, setting up your sanctuary for sleep. That is important. And understanding that you need to put more intensity out. Outward reflection of intensity. The good thing is you don't know, like, obviously, what goal is to continue working out for a long time. But you never know if you'll be able to work out tomorrow. Like, don't save your energy for the next workout. Use it now. Use it. And you will recover by the next time. I've been guilty of that frequently, so I'll just share it. Like, if I know I have like a big run or a big workout coming up in like 2 days, I'm like, that's important to take it easy, but am I maybe cutting myself too much slack because I told myself I should take it easy? So it's important to understand to keep the intensity and just be smart about the duration. Without any further ado, let us gear back up for part number 2.